friend Ava and I decided to make our own play based off our favorite TV show, Merlin. We recruited some friends and siblings, and I wrote a script and made a set out of cardboard refrigerator boxes. That was summer of 2013. I was 11. Every year since, there's been a new play in our garage, hence the name of our group, Garage Play. Each play has cardboard sets, is directed by me and a friend, and is entirely made by youth. No one over 18 has been involved in creating the last 3 plays.
I feel like it's okay to have some adult involvement, but I feel like it takes away from the fully student experience.
But it's also like fun to be independent from your parents and do something on your own.
Adult directors are more like by the book, and they just like kind of want to be all powerful, and they like just won't listen to younger people more often.
Even though directors like to have fun as well, they're also kind of like, how do I explain this? They put it how it's like by the script, and with you, it could change. Like, I thought that was fun.
Our first play was a little rough. Based on the TV show Merlin, I didn't adapt the script much, so the scenes were short and the set changes between long. It ended up being 2 hours, and a lot of that was spent changing scenes. I learned to keep scene changes fluid, nothing that we have to close curtains for.
It was very bad, lots of scene changes.
We started off a bit too strong and tried to do things that we didn't exactly have time for.
Our second play was The Invention of Hugo Cabret, a complicated and ambitious production in which not all of us memorized our lines. I learned that a simple plot is best and not to overestimate our abilities. Though The Invention of Hugo Cabret was a fictional story, one of the characters was based on a real person, an early French filmmaker named Georges Méliès. Learning more about him inspired our next play, based on one of his films, A Trip to the Moon. Released in 1902, it was a black and white silent film, so I wrote a script for it. It was artistic and whimsical, but also very short. The set was beautiful, but I should have added more plot points to make it longer. One of my favorite things about this play was that we played music for all of it, changing it with each scene to fit the mood. In 2016, we performed Cinderella, but themed for Applefest in Bayfield. When we began running through practices, we discovered that it was also a little short, so we decided to do an animated recitation of the poem Jabberwocky as a prelude. We had a lot of fun designing costumes for all the made-up creatures.
Where's the Jub bird? And Sean, the frumiest Bandersnatch.
Our most recent performance was The Princess Bride, a hilarious, beloved, and familiar classic. It was definitely our best play yet.
Inconceivable! You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Well, The Princess Bride was more thoroughly scripted because it was based off of a more like finite thing, and we had different people in it than we have in the past, which changed it a lot. It was more thought out and more planned and more professional than the last ones.
It was a lot funnier and more put together better than I expected.
We had better acting, we had better music and narration, and we had better set design.
I feel like it was the funnest so far, as it has probably been our silliest play yet. Good to do humorous movies, I feel.
The garage play process begins in the spring, when I round up all our previous actors who want to be part of garage play that year.
I am Renee Sims, and I am 11.
I'm Wendy Sutton, and I'm 12.
I am Griffin Ulysses, and I am 17 years old.
I'm Cecil, I'm 12 years old.
My name is B. Sutton, and I'm 15.
We have a meeting and decide, if I haven't already, what play we want to do. It has to be something with few enough characters so we can fill all the roles. It has to look good on our stage, no special effects or even lighting. It has to have simple sets and costumes and dialogue we can memorize. It also has to be fun for us, interesting for the audience, and not too long or short. Some play ideas we've discarded have been The Hobbit, because there's way too many characters, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, because we could never make it as funny, and anything Shakespeare because it's too long and most of us probably couldn't memorize it. I cut out a few characters in The Princess Bride, namely the advisor to Prince Humperdinck and the albino. Even so, we barely had enough actors to cover the roles, and several people had to double up. Doubling up roles is why I have to be so careful about listing each character's scene. There has to be enough time in between to change costumes. This turned out to be a problem when, due to me getting the costumes together last minute, we didn't realize how long some of the costume changes took, and it led to some awkward pauses on stage waiting for characters to get changed. I always assign roles before working on the script. This way I can adjust the amount of lines I give each character based on their age and ability. I think this is an advantage that we have over traditional theater. Going into the process, I know how many people we have, and I know them all, so I know how much they can and want to do, and I can adjust the play accordingly.
I played Fezzik, or Andre the Giant. He's big, very big, he's a giant. A bit slow, and very strong, and he doesn't even work out. My way's not very sportsmanlike.
I played Prince Humperdinck. I don't know. He was like the bad guy. I knew he was bluffing.
I played Wesley, who is the main male character, I'd say. He's the love interest with Princess Buttercup. He is a little more sassy and like more proud of himself once he has been pirate for 5 years. And then he was still humorous and sassy throughout the entire thing, and I feel like I kind of take life on a light note like he does, and even after all of the crap that he's been through, or I shouldn't say that, after all of the stuff he's been through, he still stays light and happy and humorous and in love with Buttercup. There's a shortage of perfect breasts in this world. It would be a pity to damage yours.
I played the RUS and Miracle Max. Probably like a rat with a squishy face. But other than that, I'm Miracle Max. He's funny, if you ask me. Old. Cranky. Sonny, true love is the greatest thing in the world. Except a nice MLT mutton, lettuce, and tomato sandwich where the mutton is nice and lean and the tomato is ripe. I love that, but that's not what he said.
I was Vizzini. I was a very bossy, in-your-face kind of character. Inconceivable! We like shouting at things.
Besides giving people the right amount of lines, I have to think about how things will play out on stage. Not everything looks great made out of cardboard, and sometimes things slow down the plot and the dialogue. For example, I cut the shrieking eels out of The Princess Bride. Technically, we could have done it. We would have made a cardboard cutout or had someone dress up to play the role, but it would have been awkward. It was better to cut it out than force it for the sake of accuracy. For The Princess Bride, we held practices twice a week for a couple of months. This is no easy feat since we have to schedule around everyone's summer and after-school activities. And not all of us live in Ashland, so we're dependent on parents to give rides. Each practice starts on the back porch, hanging out, eating snacks, waiting for everyone to arrive. On the very first practice, we watched the movie together. Next, we read through the script, and then we moved out to the garage. This play was directed by B and me.
Well, I've been acting on professional stages since I was really little, but my parents both acted and sung, so I had a lot of coaching from them.
I've only ever been in 2 plays, both at Stage North, the theater in Washburn, and both when I was in elementary school. So since I basically have no stage training, it's hard to know when I'm giving the right advice. I know the basics of being on stage: speak loud and enunciate, keep your body towards the audience, etc. But beyond that, I'm really just guessing and learning as I go. Oftentimes I ask the cast for help to watch a scene and help me give constructive criticism. I also design and make the sets with help and input from the cast. My main material is cardboard, but I also utilize foam, lath, paint sticks, and lots of duct tape. Working with a low budget and minimal time and people adds an extra level of challenge.
I'm gonna give a little tour of the set here. This is the main backdrop. This is the boat and the water, both foldable so we can fit them backstage easily. This is the secret door in the tree that leads into the pit of despair. It also blocks off so you can't see all the stuff backstage. This is the machine, and that's a sword prop I made next to it. As you can see, it's just an old chair that I spray painted, screwed these boards onto, added the plunger to suck away Wesley's life, and I added this crank to operate it.
For The Princess Bride, what I ended up with as a main backdrop isn't a scene from the movie because we use it in many different scenes in different places. I settled on this design because it has simple shapes and bright colors so it looks good from a distance. Above all, it was straightforward and easy for me to paint. When I'm unsure of how to do something, I'll always turn to the cast or my parents for help. My mom's an artist, so she can often give me advice about painting the set, and my dad can help me learn to use the tools to build it like saws and drills. If I'm making a big decision, I'll ask the cast to practice and they always give great advice. For example, I was torn about how to make fire in the fire swamp. I'd considered a cardboard cutout, red ribbons, red lighting, and digital sound effects. But when I asked the cast, B suggested that we just use firework snaps.
Well, now that was an adventure. Sensitive, were you?
No, you? There have been countless other people who have helped get us the things we need. Griffin's mom, Janelle, works on costumes for Stage North and was able to get us the dress for Buttercup. For A Trip to the Moon, I borrowed papier-mâché materials from my art teacher, Miss Pierce. In The Invention of Hugo Cabret, I got a mannequin body to build an automaton prop from a sales associate at Maurice's. Overall, my main critique of our performance would be my own procrastination. I often leave a lot to the week before the play, including building set pieces, getting costumes and props, and the sound setup. This results in us not having the practice time we need to get used to everything and work out the bugs.
I feel like things only really came together very close to the end.
For example, we only had a few dress rehearsals, and so we weren't used to taking out and putting back our swords into our belts, which resulted in us grabbing the blade a lot, which doesn't really look good. Despite all the rush, though, the play ran smoothly. We always meet at my house several hours before to set out chairs, a donation jar, and programs, and to do a dress rehearsal. I planned for around 30 people, about the number of chairs that fit in the driveway. Our audience is mostly parents and family members of the cast. Sometimes relatives travel to watch us. Neighbors also come, many of which having watched our progress over the course of the summer. Afterwards, we all celebrate by having dinner in the yard. So far, we've been lucky enough to have beautiful weather every time. The performance is also when we collect donations for next year. To give people something in return, anyone who donates gets a cardboard cutout signed by the cast. After the play is over, my next job is to collect pictures from audience members, edit the video we take, and put them both up on our website. Then I hand paint t-shirts. In the past, they've only been for cast members, but this year we let our audience buy them too. When they're done, I invite the cast back one more time to get our shirts, take a group picture, and eat pizza.
What's your favorite part of being a garage play?
It's all great again.
Hanging out with friends. Always a fun time.
I don't know, I like being in garage play because it's fun and something to do over the summer and for the beginning of the school year.
My favorite part would probably just be the people and the unique experience and be able to change things and like seeing the set come to life with such few materials and like it's all has like a homey, warm, comfortable vibe, like a puppet show you did as a kid versus like going on Broadway. Like we have different expectations there, so you don't have to be perfect, but it'll still turn out great.
Like we wouldn't be shown on a big screen or anything, so we don't have to worry about quality quite as much, which can be very nice at times.
And then my least favorite thing would probably just be how unprofessional a lot of the stuff is when it should be. Like, the people are immature sometimes and they goof off during dress rehearsal, and it, like, you can goof off sometimes, but like they don't understand when to be serious and when it's like actually you need to be acting. You need to put energy and focus into this. You can't just sleep through the rehearsal when the performance is a few weeks away. Like, we need to be more collected sometimes than we are. And it's kind of hard to get some props we need, but otherwise it's pretty good.
We need to be quieter backstage and like focus more on the actual play.
Speaking louder and a little bit slower.
We did acting and lines very well. What we could improve upon is probably being a bit more serious when practicing and trying to be quiet backstage.
What did we do well? We memorized our lines and helped each other remember our lines pretty well.
I think we did the whole Miracle Max scene pretty well.
We get really good in the last few weeks, and like we get along really well, but for the first half we just can't focus, we can't pay attention, we can't work well together. Like, when we're starting out, no one really like wants to do it. They don't rush, they don't think, they say, hey, we have like 4 weeks till the play, that's going to be nothing, we can totally do this, why bother trying now, when by the time 1 week till the play rolls around, they only know 50% of their lines because they were goofing off forever. So we just have trouble focusing until last minute, and procrastination isn't really good in such a situation.
I did the lines very well. What I could improve would probably be my acting, as I wasn't, even though I was in quite a few shots, I never talked too much, and so there's quite a lot of time with me just standing around.
I'm pretty sure that I portrayed him as a character reasonably well, and like got his sarcasm down, but I probably could have like done his movements better and like his facial expressions, which I can't really get. But I mean, I think I did reasonably well.
I could have improved on talking slower, and I think I did pretty well though. I've learned how to like use my body language a little bit better and just act my character better. And I've learned just to play as your character when you're working with other people and acting.
I've learned a lot of patience, that's for sure. Like, just knowing not to be too bossy when it comes with kids. Like, I've acted with kids before, and the adults just kind of like either treat them like babies or treat them like really inferior, and it's like kind of like, ugh. So you have to get that in between part when you're like being a fellow actor with children, where you can't just be like, hey, you need to be really quiet backstage, but you can't also be like, could you please be a little quiet? Like, it's like you learn more patience and like certain abilities of how to treat like people of all ages and all experiences. Like, if someone that's a few years younger than me who has no acting experience said a line wrong when they were in a professional play, I wouldn't be very happy with them. But like, I've learned now to just accept that some people have different experience and different abilities, and it's helped me in life. And then like, I have a few friends that I've known for a handful of years that I like kind of just have gotten much closer with them through Garage Play. Like, I see them at school and we kind of wave, but then at Garage Play we'll like get closer and have more inside jokes and have more fun.
More people know me, because nobody knew me before.
First, I only knew a few people in the play, But since then, I've gotten quite a few more friends, and they are fun. Fun friends.
In the end, I think this is why most of us are in Garage Play. It's really fun to have an excuse to get together and hang out twice a week. We get to know people that we wouldn't have under other circumstances, and we get to know each other better by acting and working together to create something beautiful.